The Grinning Man. June the 1st, 2013. Dear Mum, I'm sending this mostly for the safety of you guys. This letter will most likely be my last words. Please don't tell Chloe about any of this, Mum. Right now, I'm in a local drugstore. I'm currently on the run from... Well, I'm not sure. I'll make sure you get what I'm saying. I was at home when it came to my door. It was Sunday, roughly 3 p.m. I remember it kind of vaguely. It was only a couple of nights ago. I can't quite remember all that much. Anyway, I heard a sort of snarling in my backyard. I figured it was a dog, like usual, barking at some squirrels. The snarling got fainter, and I heard a sharp whimper. I quickly jumped up with a frightened look. I knew something was up. I went outside to see what was going on. I opened the door to the backyard. I didn't see anything. Then I saw my dog. He was just standing in a strange position. He was staring out the gate. I looked over. I saw a man. But he quickly vanished. I ran upstairs into my living room to call the police. I'd heard a sharp cry from the outside again, but this time I nearly jumped out of my skin when I heard it. I rushed out to only see the bloody pile of intestines and a still beating heart. I could see the dog was in pain, but I know I couldn't exactly help it very much. I looked back at the gate and just saw a black flash. He was here again. Looking at the dog and back at the gate, I went into my home to call the police. I approached the police, dialed 911, and it started to ring. It answered with a demonic hello. I was scared stiff. This wasn't the police. That much I was sure of. I realised the phone had been disconnected and it was hooked to a new wire. Was he in the house? I followed the line, turning around at every noise I heard. The cord led to the closet. The phone said, "Go ahead. Open it." Could he see me? I thought to myself. I slammed the closet open. Nothing was in it. "Where the fuck are you?" I yelled out. All I could hear was a statical laugh coming from the phone. "Come and find me." What could I do? He was in my house. I didn't even know where he was. I ran into every room that was in the small bungalow. I couldn't find him anywhere. I didn't understand what I had done to him. Was he a serial killer? I went outside again to see if I could find him. I heard the phone say in a silent but insanely disturbing voice, "Warmer." I looked around wildly. I didn't see anything. Wait a minute. The dog was gone. Everything but the heart. It was still beating. I ran, nothing more. I kept running until I was 10 blocks from my house. My heart was beating 1,000,000 miles a minute. My hands were trembling. What the hell does he want from me? I turned around, only to see a man staring at me. His face was wild, but his main expression was his terrifying grin. We just both stared at each other for a minute or two. His head was crooked to the left, his grin taking up his entire face. The wrinkles on his forehead added an innocent look to him. I knew it was a facade to fool me. I yelled out, "What do you want with me?" He just stood there, with his giant grin looking at me with a certain sadness that made him feel bad for him. He never answered me. All he did was slowly walk towards me, with the grin still attached to his face. I ran from him once more. I kept running until I got to this store. And to that, I have to say goodbye, Mum. I don't plan on swallowing any guns, but the temptation is enormous. I knew this thing wouldn't leave me alone, and I can't get it out to you. Can't let it out to you. I don't know what to do about this, really. All I know is I love you, Mum. Tell Chloe that she may never see me again, but to never forget me. I love you, sis. June the 8th, 2013. Dear Mum, well, it's been a week. It's been terrible lately. Every time I try to sleep at night, all I can imagine is the horrifying grin. The grin that could put a clown to misery. The grin that makes a kid scared to go to bed at night. I guess that makes me a kid. Mum, I'm asking you, please, call the police. I don't care if I die. I just want this son of a bitch sent to prison. I've tried to take showers, but I see that grin and I instantly get out. I'm being tormented every day of my life. I know he's here somewhere, probably watching me right now. But I can't get rid of him. He cut my phone line, so I have to type to send these by mail. I hope you're not too worried about me. Over the last week, one day, impartially, I've been running from my own house from a murderer. Most days, all I heard was someone walking around my house, so I ran out, of course. But on Wednesday, I can't really explain it. On Wednesday morning, I went outside to get the mail, like I do every day. I went out there and saw there was no mail. With this all going on, this wasn't the weirdest thing that happened. That wasn't weird until I saw the mail truck a block down from my house. It was on fire. I was completely frozen, unable to move at all. I knew the man was dead, but I couldn't move more than an inch at a time. I just stared at it, and after a second, a bag came over my head. I woke up the next day on the floor. I couldn't see anything other than the sack over my head. I heard loud laughing. I knew I was awake. I felt a large pain in my side. He decided he would kick me for a laugh. I lay there, not moving. He removed the sack, revealing a light that nearly pierced my eyes. It burned to open my eyes. When my eyes adjusted, I saw the giant grin right in front of me. The man just stared at me. I was petrified. I muttered the words, "Why me?" He stared at me and opened his mouth. The grin disappeared when he spoke. All he said was, "No reason," then laughed at the picture of Satan himself. He pulled out a knife longer than my arm. The knife already had blood on it. He said to me, "The man didn't like this one very much." I started to scream and was silenced. The knife was thrown into my leg. I was in agonising pain, unable to say anything, but a slight whimper. The knife was through my entire leg. I could feel my leg slowly dying while still on me. I didn't feel the pain until a minute after. It hit me harder than anything I've ever felt. I looked at the wound, my eyes wide open. He drew the knife out, putting even more pressure on it. He put the knife down and grabbed a hammer. He had an armory at his disposal. He grabbed me, pulled me onto a table. He looked at me and slammed the hammer straight onto my leg, unleashing all the blood onto the table. I screamed like a child. I never knew how something like this could make a grown man scream like a little girl. I reached for my leg and realised my arms were strapped together. Same goes for my legs. I couldn't even defend myself. The man laughed, but a tear came to my eye. I was going to die to a man like this, an insane man who laughs at the pain of others. I guess he thought he was done with the torture. He finally grabbed an enormous machete. He lifted it in the air. I looked into his eyes, completely black with no emotion whatsoever, except for his wild grin. He threw the machete down, and it cut off my left arm. The tissue ripped entirely in one swipe. The blood slowly sloshed out, and you could see my bone and muscles sticking out. I started to grin. I laughed at the top of my lungs. I was going crazy as I was dying. I laughed until I coughed out blood. The grinning man started laughing and chopped off my head. Unfortunately, your son is dead now. What? You didn't know? It's me, the grinning man. Your son was a nobleman. If you can explain him that way. Yes, he did write the first part, and I simply made it seem like him afterward. Well, I'm with your son now. Oh, you want to talk to him? All right, here he is. Oh, sorry, he's busy. Well, that's fine. I'll come and visit soon. Say hi to Chloe for me.